Hey everyone, welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway. This is one of my favorite tracks. It's a high banked, half mile, short track here in Tennessee. It's really fast. It's one of the fastest short tracks in the world, and we're I have a lot of fun at this place, but not everybody does. It's kind of a love-or-hate relationship with this track. So if you're good here, you typically have a good time and it's a lot of fun. But if you're missing a few key basics, then this place can be a handful and it can be very frustrating. So let's go over that. We're going to do 50 laps in the national car here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's get right to it. I'm going to shift into first gear and head off pit road. Pit road speed's 35 miles per hour. Very slow pit road speed. And the banking here is just enormous. And there's more banking at the top of the track than the bottom. So that's where we're going to want to run through the duration of this run, right near that outside wall. So here we go into turn one, our first lap. And didn't get back to the gas the way I wanted to there, but I'm going down the backstretch and into 3 and 4, running high, and let's see what I ran, an 11. So I've been able to hit O's before, so that's not quite as good as I wanted it to be, but I'm gonna keep going. The laps go by really quick here, and there is a chance that I can pick up on my second lap, so make sure to run 2 laps of qualifying here. See, I did a 16 on my second lap, so I didn't slow down too much. And one thing you'll notice is I'm actually hitting the rev limiter not too far down the straightaway. Actually, it feels like it's almost halfway down the straightaway I'm hitting the rev limiter. So iRacing just missed the mark a little bit on the gear this week for this car and this track. Typically they get it spot on, but not quite for this week, so we just kind of have to deal with it. And later in the race it's actually going to come in a little bit better, so we're not going to be bouncing off the chip quite as much. Coming to take lap 10, and you'll notice that through 1 and 2 there's actually a shadow up top here closer to the outside wall, and off 2 down the entire backstretch. So we actually want to get our right side tires, and if we can, our left side tires all the way up there into that shadow. We can actually use that shadow to our advantage and get on the gas really hard, because there's actually more grip. It's not as hot up there with the shadow, and we can definitely utilize it. And similarly in 3 and 4, you might expect that it's a little bit more slippery. After only about 5 minutes of driving, I'm already on lap 20. This race is going to go by very quickly. It's only 50 laps, and we're doing 15-second laps. So we're doing about 4 laps a minute here. And one thing about this track is you definitely want to just be aware that there could be an accident off the turn and you can't see it. Like right now, I can't even see what's going on off the turn because the banking and the angle of the turn, it's just impossible to see. So if you can get a buddy to spot you and make sure that there isn't an accident off the turns, but if not, if you don't have somebody that can spot for you this week, then just be aware that you might have to stop at a moment's notice just to try to avoid a wreck. So be aware of that, and maybe find somebody that can spot you. Lap 30 here, going down the backstretch into turn 3. I'm gonna cut down a little bit sooner in 3 and 4 than I do in 1 and 2. 1 and 2, there's a lot more grip, and you can get back to the gas pretty hard, and the car just wants to turn right there off 2. 3 and 4, not so much. You kind of have to get it pointed down towards the bottom a little bit more before you get back to the gas. So there's subtle differences between turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's really important to keep track of what turn you're in. Although they look identical, they're not. Lap 40, only 10 laps to go in this race, and that would be about 2 minutes. So this race is going to fly right by. If you do need to make a pass, you really need to set it up really well. You can't really pass people on the outside. There's going to be a lot of cars on the outside line. Just that's the preferred that's the preferred line, obviously. So, and it's really hard to bump somebody out of top lane because really they're just going to hit the wall in front of you and possibly, take you out. So, in order to pass, you have to get side by side, and you want to run about a lane lower than your typical line, and it takes a lot of practice. Make sure you get plenty of practice with other cars this week because passing is very difficult, and in order to execute a clean pass here, it takes a lot of practice. So get into some open practice servers and see what you can do and what you can't do. As I hit the wall right there. So this place will eat you up in a heartbeat, and we don't want that to happen with a competitor and ruin two people's races. You gotta use your head and make sure that you're not going to ruin somebody else's race by attempting a pass that isn't quite gonna work. As we come to start lap 50, I've really started to move up the track even more in 1 and 2. I try to get right next to that outside wall, and sometimes I touch it just a little bit, like right there, but it's not too bad. It's not bad if you just touch the wall like that and not slam into it. 3 and 4, not so much. You have to run a tiny bit lower, so that's something that I've started to do the last couple laps, and my last lap there was 16.14. On my other session, I was able to do an O on my last lap, so maybe I just had a little bit too much damage there at the end. But overall, not a bad run. It's just, it's not an easy track. You're gonna hit the wall here. It's gonna mangle up the car a little bit. You're gonna probably hit other cars. It's just part of racing here at Bristol. But we can do our best to keep our cars clean and possibly come away here, with a clean car. It is possible, but and that car is likely going to do well. So hope you guys enjoy Bristol. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this week plays out. Just try to keep it as clean as you can out there, and we'll see you next week.